Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Louis Ferrante.
I was down here. Sammy was up here.
Did you see guys start getting clipped off, like
No,
starting
no, no,
to
no,
get
no.
locked
John
up, or
wasn't.
no?
So here's the deal. Everybody talks about like John now, like he was Idi Amin, killing everybody in the world. John wasn't like that. If John was like that, John would have been, or the guys around at that time, the Gottis, let's say, they would have been clipping people left and right that they were afraid of. They didn't kill nobody. The Gottis knew I was going away for a long time. I had 3 indictments hanging over my head. I had the FBI following me every day. They could have killed me. No one killed me. So, I'm in and out of that house every day. And first of all, obviously, I knew a lot of things about a lot of people. But even if there's somebody out there who goes, oh, what did he know? He didn't know nothing. I'm in the house every day. If you want to make up stories, it's believable. Your phone records go back and forth to the house every day. You're filmed going in and out of the house every day. You can make something up and get out of jail. Yeah. So, come on, it's easy enough to get out of jail. If they wanted to clip me, they could have, but they didn't. They weren't animals. They were, when it came to that life, they understood the life. They were good to it, and they understood. They had a good read on people. They missed Sammy. John had a lot of reasons why he missed Sammy. Don't forget, John's whole world was swept out from under him. John grew up with Angelo Ruggiero. He grew up with Johnny Koenig. He grew up with his brother Jeannie, Tony Roach. All those guys were gone. John's got nobody left around him that he grew up with that he could trust from when he's a kid. Willie Boy Johnson went bad. All the guys around him from Queens went bad. So now he's got to balance Brooklyn, and he's got new faces he has to rely on. So it was sort of like a mistake where, But anyway, let's move on. I want to talk about my book. Well,
yeah, definitely. Well, one thing I want to ask you is about this song that you did,
sure,
to try to get out of prison. And how that all transpired. Like, what was your thinking behind doing a song to get publicity? Like, what was the deal with that?
So basically what happened was I'm under investigation by the FBI for heists and hijackings, armored cars, you name it, I'm being charged with. And I know I'm going away. They started offering people the witness protection program if they would testify against me. So people are calling me going, Lou, the FBI just left. They offered me the witness protection program if I would give you up. So I'm saying to myself, I'm a young guy. I'm only in my early 20s. I went away when I was 25. So I'm saying to myself, if they're willing to pay for somebody's livelihood or, they dish out money for the rest of their life and give them a new identity, they're really willing to put big resources into me and get me off the street. So I'm done. I'm gone. I know I'm dead. So once I make up my mind that I know I'm dead, and just so we know again, just to make it clear, never would rat. I never said, oh, wow, maybe I can make a deal. You're dead. You're going to jail for the rest of your life. So now I'm in a desperate situation, but I'm not willing to rat. So I'm looking for anything. I'm drawing straws. I'm pulling at anything. What can I do to save myself? Not ratting, never going to rat. But what else can I do?
Are you thinking of unaliving yourself at this point, or no?
What? Thinking of what?
Like unaliving yourself?
What's unaliving? I'm not familiar with the term.
Suicide?
Oh, I'll be honest with you. When I was on the street, that didn't cross my mind. At some point when I was sitting in a jail cell and I had a lot of regret for all the things I did, I don't know. You just wish the ceiling would fall on top of your head. You'd rather be dead than alive. But no, I wasn't thinking about that. Crossed my mind going to Sicily. I had some friends that were from we used to call them, quote unquote. We didn't think of it as a derogatory name, but it is. There was greaseballs we knew, guys from the other side. That was stand-up guys, honorable guys. You go to Sicily and stay there for a while. We'll put you somewhere in the town. And I said, how am I going to leave my family? And they never hear from me again. They'll torture my family, the feds. They're going to constantly pressure my family, and I'll just be shifting the pain that I'm trying to save for myself onto them, because the FBI will be watching them for the rest of their lives. I couldn't do that. So anyway, P.S. one day, Pete Gotti says, I'm in the company of Pete Jr. Pete Gotti says Mickey Rourke wants to do a rap song about John Sr., who had just been sentenced to life. He goes, Mickey Rourke, the actor, wants to do a song about him. He's got this rap group in California that said they want to make a song and put it out that how John got railroaded. So I said, let me do that. He goes, you? What are you talking about? Like I robbed an almond car like the day before. Like, what are you talking about? So I go, I got no defense. I helped John. I'm thinking, and they come after me. And I, when I get arrested, rather, I could say, well, they came after me because I made a song to stick up for John. That's why they're coming after me. At least I have a defense, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in my head. So I said, let me do it. So we reached out to Prime Minister Pete Nice of Third Base. I got a hold of him through a friend I knew. And Pete Nice was a gem of a guy. We went to Peter Luger's in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. I said, I want to take you to dinner. I want to make you a proposition. So we went, me, Pete Gotti Jr., and Pete Nice. Prime Minister Pete Nice went to Peter Luger's in Brooklyn, and over a steak dinner, I said, look, I want you to teach me how to rap. And he goes, sure, what do you want to rap about? I go, I want to rap about John Gotti, how he got railroaded. So he said, sure, I'll help you out. So he had a connection with Sam Sever, who used to lay down tracks, famous in his day, hip hop tracks and stuff. He had a connection with Chung King's studio down in Manhattan. I think it might have been in either Little Italy or Chinatown, or maybe the Village. It was downtown. And he goes, I'll set up everything and we'll get you going. So then I went to Fat George DeBello, who recently passed away, unfortunately, rest his soul. And I said, hey, Fatso, do me a favor. Can you do me a favor and write a song about John? I'm going to sing it. I didn't know how to write. I taught myself how to write in jail years later. So I says, can you do me a favor, write a song about John, how he got railroaded? I'm going to sing it. Pete Nice from Third Base is going to bring me to the studio and teach me how to sing. So he goes, sure. Because George used to do like rap songs, used to make up in his own head as he was hanging out by the club. George used to work the Bergen and also too around the corner, John Jr.'s club. He used to be back and forth sometimes, but he was always there. He was pretty much raised by the Gottis. So he wrote a song about John. And that's it. Then I went to the studio. Pete Nice, laid down the track with Sam Sever, taught me how to rap, and the song did pretty good. It was out for a while.
Where did they put it out? And what were you thinking when it gets released?
It was wild. So the newspapers covered it. It went all over the place. There was a lot of press. I got some. If you go to my website, louisferrante.com, LOUISFERRANTE.com. First of all, there's some articles on there talking about it. And I also got like a section where I found old records and tapes, cassette tapes and LPs, and I put them up for sale on the website because I don't know what to do with them, so it's like, they were laying in the garage. So they were leftovers from the first run. So, but anyway, it was selling. It was on like Hot 97, used to be a big station back then. It was on Hot 97. We booked advertising. I probably spent like 10, 15, maybe 20 grand on advertising.
And you're on the run at this time, right?
No, I'm waiting for the indictments to come down. So it's not like I'm a fugitive, but I'm going back and forth to my house. It's not like I'm on the lam, but I'm waiting for the indictments to come down, and I know they're coming. So we get the song out, and then sure enough, the song's out. It's doing well, and then the indictments start rolling down. So now I'm getting picked up off the street. Secret Service surrounded my house with bulletproof vests and machine guns. FBI. Organized crime task force, everybody indicted me. I had 3 indictments. So in the end, I says, all right, and I got the song. So I hired the radical civil rights attorney. He used to jump to the defense of anybody whose civil rights were violated at the time, William Kunstler. Some of your older listeners might remember him. He was a really, really big attorney. He went into the Attica riots to negotiate with the prisoners who were holding guards hostage at Attica State Prison in New York. That's how long he'd been around. He represented the Chicago 7 back, when they caused hell for the Democratic National Convention. He represented Martin Luther King. He represented Malcolm X. He rode the buses in Montgomery, Alabama, the Freedom Bus rides. He was way, way, way deep into history. And I said to Kunstler, I go, do me a favor, will you represent me? I wrote a song about John. And he says, anybody who's a friend of John is a friend of mine. You got it. So he took my case and he represented me, and he used the defense that the feds came after me after I put the song out, which was a bogey defense. The feds had every reason to come after me. Obviously, now I could talk the truth, right? But back then I'm fighting for my life. So in the end, he represented me, and we brought the song into the trial, into trial. My first case, I went to trial there was a bullshit case and there was a big case. The bullshit case, I was only facing 5 years, a nickel, if I blew trial. So I figured I'd roll the dice with that one. And then I'll figure out with the FBI case, they came down with a big indictment it was a Hobbs Act racketeering indictment. That was interstate commerce for all the hijackings and heists and stuff. So the first case, I went to trial and he tried to bring it in. And the judge said, look, he could bring in the song, but he's got to take the stand to bring it in. You got to put him on the stand, have direct, when they do direct before cross-examination, you could have him bring in the song on direct, but then the prosecutor could get him on cross. And if the prosecutor gets him on cross, then the prosecutor could ask him about all his relationships and everything he's done. So if you want to put him on the stand, go ahead. That's how you get the song in. This is all on record too, all court documents for this stuff and newspaper articles. So he ends up, the lawyer says, Kunstler says to me, look, you want to take the stand? We bring in the song. I go, I can't do that. So he goes, what do you mean? I go, they're going to ask me a million things I can't answer.
Yeah.
I go, it's like, I'm going to talk about the song and then I'm going to be mute the rest of the time. Yeah. So it's going to look ridiculous. I said, so, I'm dead. So we couldn't bring it in. They had a hearing outside of court to see if we could bring in, see if we could win, bring it in without me taking the stand. We lost that hearing. And then, but the newspapers kept saying that Ferrante says he's innocent because he was charged after the song came out. So the newspapers were trying to I got the right press, and Kunstler was trying to get it in, but it didn't save me. And in the end, so I lost that case. I got the nickel that I had coming. And then I got the FBI indictment with all the heists and hijackings. And then me and my co-defendants, there was 8 of us that didn't rat. And we all took a plea on that, a global plea.
And how much was the plea for?
Well, in the end, I got 13 years. And the reason why I got 13, they were offering us, so the feds were offering us 20 years, take it or leave it, for a long time. They said, you take 20 years across the board for me. And there were 4 of us that were on the top of the indictment, charged with the worst stuff. And then the other 4 were sort of minor guys. So the top 4, they said, take 20 years apiece, go on your way. And we were like, no, let's keep fighting it and see what happens. So at some point they came down, they said, look, we fought for 3 years. I had the best attorneys money could buy. After Kunstler died, I had 7 attorneys I went through and spent big wood on attorneys.
A lot of money. A
lot of money. In the end, never forget this. The strong take from the weak and the smart take from the strong, and the smart were the lawyers. So we took money from people by robbing, everything else we did, extortion and all the other crap that we were involved in. But in the end, the smart take from the strong. The lawyers come in who went to Ivy League schools and law schools and all that other crap. And they go, here, give us $500,000 for this, give us 200 for that, give us 100 for the appeal. And they take all the money in the end. So the money goes through this vicious cycle, but the smart people who went to school end up with all of it in the end. Mark those words, it never fails. So whatever the case is, I dish out all this money for attorneys. And eventually they come down, they said, look, if I take 13 years, then they'll give my co-defendants 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 down the line. But it's got to be a global plea. So we didn't know. We said, well, something's up, We don't know what it is, though. They're offering us good deals. Let's take it. Maybe we wore them out. We've been fighting these cases for 3 years. We were in the detention center, Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn for 36 months. So we said, what do you guys want to do? I said, they go, look, Lou, they're giving us good deals, like 9, 8, 7, 6 down the line for my other guys. So they go, look, if you take the 13, we get the good deal. Let's take it. So I said, fine. So we all copped out. And just to give you an idea, too, of how I would never do anything to hurt anybody in that life, because I felt like so strong against never ratting. That was my mindset back then. I would never rat on my co-defendants. I would never rat on anybody. So I said, when I went to court, each guy goes out. We all took pleas. So each guy goes out to take the plea allocution alone. So when I went for my plea allocution, they dropped the rest of the counts on the indictment and they give us this. I copped to 1 hijacking. And when I copped to that, the judge reads or the prosecutor or the judge, I think the judge reads the plea allocution. And he says, you and so-and-so and so-and-so committed this hijacking on such and such a date. And I said, Your Honor, these are in public records. You could find them. Your Honor, I won't take that plea. He goes, what's wrong with it? You agreed to it. That's why you're here today. I go, no, I understand that, but I won't mention another person's name in my own guilt, my own, I forget my exact words. Again, it's public record somewhere. But I said, I won't mention somebody else's name in my plea allocution. I did this alone. He goes, but you didn't do it alone. I go, well, I can't take the plea then. So he says, will you accept the plea that says you and your Confederates robbed this truck? And I didn't even know what the word Confederates meant. I like, Confederates, what does that have to do with the Civil War? Right? But anyway, my lawyer goes, he means your friends, your co-defendant. So I said, okay. I go, I'll accept that. So I accepted a plea that just was basically my name only, so that I could go back to the jail, the detention center in Brooklyn, and tell my co-defendants, I didn't mention anybody's names. And they, you know, I assume they did the same thing with me. But whatever the case was, they didn't rat. I didn't. We go on our merry way. And then I meet the guy. I gave a shout out to Marcos Pappas. I meet Marcos Pappas in jail. And we found out that there was a technicality on my plea allocution that he felt was reversible with the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. Marcos was doing 35 years. No rat, never ratted, nothing. Good stand-up guy. And he goes, let me help you. I'll teach you law. We'll file the brief ourselves. Forget all your lawyers. I hired and fired 7 attorneys by then. He goes, tell them all to go shit in their hat. We'll do this ourselves. So I said, great. So we ended up filing a plea. It made case law. We filed it with an appeal with the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. And I reversed the case on a technicality. I wasn't innocent, but I reversed it on a technicality. There were other things in the plea allocution. Maybe I confused the judge when I was talking about other people. But whatever the case is, he made a lot of mistakes on the plea allocution. You're supposed to do this right in court. You know, a man's guilt is on the line. He's taking a plea. It's a contract. It's a binding contract.